Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come up. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to your playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of news to get through. Let's get on with it. So, President Edgar Lungu seems to be making a lot of news. So, as of today, Chilufya has reviewed. Imeisha kwata income. Edgar Lungu paid me fine. I paid my fine. He sent 20,000. Then Simon Mwa sent 5,000. Plus Bishop who sent me 1,000. You think I can speak nonsense about ECO soon after my release? So he has revealed that if you remember, Chief Tayali has been convicted of assault on a police officer in one of the cases that he has in court. So it was either he was going to serve a 9-month jail sentence or pay that fine of 20,000. So as of today, he has revealed that money came from Edgar Lungu. The former president is the one that gave him that money to pay, plus other people that contributed, and has listed them there. So then he did not mention which bishop he had got that money from, the 1,000. But in the comment section, there's this comedian from ZNBC, Reverend Kolo. If you see in that comment section, he says, "Company see the secret why you help abantu." The one penny younger. So he says, I gave you that money in secrecy. How come you're revealing it to the public? Return my money. I doubt this is a bishop in question. It's most likely John General, or the other guy who was a court case of infidelity and sleeping with a married woman. So as for now, we take it that it's that bishop, the social media personality. But in other news, Chimba Kambwili's story seems to be not going away. And from the news that is making round, it seems like he's in a very bad health state, because everyone that seems to meet him says he needs serious attention. So yeah, that has been in the big domain for a while. From the time that he was released from prison, that conviction he was given 6 months, he hasn't been well. So this is Savage Chimba, one of the political players. At some point he was even an MP. He rarely makes he rarely makes public statements in recent past. But with regard to Chimba Kampi, he was compelled to make a statement. He said, why is the Ministry of Interior taking weeks to clear emergency evacuation of Dr. Chimba Kampi when his family is ready to use their own resources to meet all costs of travel for the patient? Accompanying government medical personnel and security officers, his family does not need taxpayers' money for this critical and urgent medical evacuation. Where is respect for human life? What has become of this nation? I thought President Chilufya had authorized the evacuation. Why would anyone want blood on of another person to be on their hands? Life is sacred. So you can tell from the tone that is used in this post to say everyone that had seen Chimba state seems to be very concerned about his health. So there was a public cry to say, hey, let's put politics aside and let's get him the medical attention that he needs. And then it kept on going further. But as of today, it has come to public domain that Chimba has left the country. And the circumstances in which he has left the country You'll find out as we go on. So Mausampa cried, saying, as fate may have it, I and Honorable Robert Kalimani and Honorable Chimbakambu's sureties in one of his cases in 2023. Maybe I tried too hard to be nice to certain people. I may pay some price with the judge in this case. So he's simply trying to say the way Chimbakambili has fled the country and the fact that Mausampa is a surety in one of the cases, because Chimbakambili has a bunch of cases. The one that he was convicted in is just one of them. He's still at cases in court. So he's in one of those cases, Mausampa and another member of this, Robert Kalimani, Kalimi, whatever that name is part of the people that were sureties. That is Robert Kalimi and Mausampa. So now that the sureties and the person they signed surety for has fled the country, they are now the ones to pay the consequences of that. That's the case that even Munia Zulu has, where what's his name? Zulu, so some other Kaiser Zulu, yes. Kaiser Zulu fled the country also and put Munia Zulu in a lot of precarious situation. So this is Mausampa, that's his wife in center and his daughter down there, President Hakainde Hichilema. This was should have been at the showgrounds. So he's crying foul to say he's like to pay the consequences of Chimbakambili running. And earlier on, Saboyi Mpuya, this is a lady that has taken over the NDC, the party that Chimbakambili had formed. And she's the current president. She posted this early in the morning because the news of him running away from Zambia started circulating, I think, early this morning, around 6 or somewhere there. So she says, in the Daily Nation today, the European government is deceitful. The Ministry of Health announces the evacuation of a critically ill Honorable Chimbakambili, and the Ministry of Home Affairs plays politics with his passport and refuses to evacuate him. All this from the same government. All this was planned, and they wanted to show they are a good and caring government, and yet very evil and heartless people. So she cried foul, and that's a news saying Kambili is stranded in Zim. But if he's in Zimbabwe, we definitely go to the UK. The Patriotic Front in Zambia, the Patriotic Front in Zimbabwe, they seem to have some sort of good relations. If you remember, even at the inauguration, President Hakainde Hichilema did not go at Mnangagwa's inauguration. Only, I think, Edgar Lungu and his officials attended that inauguration. So even if he does not get the Zambian passport, he's going to be given some Zimbabwean document to allow him to travel to the UK. And then after his medical checkup and everything, medical attention, if he need be, that's when he'll come back to Zambia. So the fact that he's left Zambia, him moving from Zimbabwe to the UK, that's an easy thing. He was a former minister on several portfolios. So the connections are there, definitely. This is the picture of Chimbakambili, the president, earlier on during the build-up in 2021 elections. And people just comment on all the same different opinions. Obviously, some of them spicy, I will not read them. And Dr. Chimbakambuli's medical evacuation to India revoked after he failed to meet conditions. Denounces this is an allegation the PF made to denounce President Lungu and recognize Mausampa as president. Says the Patriotic Front said the condition that Chimbakambuli was given by the UPND was for Chiba to denounce ACL and align with Mausampa. They are trying to cook up this story. I suspect this is just propaganda. There are no facts to it. Based on the fact that the first person that visited Chimbakambuli when he was in a bad state, like his health became public news, was Mausampa, and he's the one who brought it to the light to say he's in a bad state, and none of the PF from Edgar Lungu are visiting him. So that's his wife, Chimbakambuli, him and his wife. So she's medical personnel in the UK. I think she's a nurse, or maybe she's upgraded now. But for a while, she was known to be a nurse in the UK. So most of his records must be in the UK. That's why he insists that he needs to go to the UK to have that medical attention that he needs. Because he makes a lot of trips in between Zambia and the UK several times for that. So him being given the condition to say the government can only go to South Africa and or China, I mean, or India, meaning he has to start explaining his health condition and stuff like that. So I'm sure he opts to go to people that already know his health situation and how to handle him. And later on, 12, it was reported that now he has officially fled to Zimbabwe. So that's Shimba Kambwili and his wife. These are all pictures. These are not from today. So then finally, Jack Mwimbu, Minister of Home Affairs, and Sylvia Masebo officially held the press briefing because the news started making rounds on social media. What's the state? Where's Shimba Kambwili? Because his passport was believed to be in Zambia, but he himself was not in Zambia. So the government was compelled to make a statement. Then finally they did. So this is Jack Mwimbu and Sylvia Masebo gave separate statements at the same press briefing. So they say Shimba Kambwili's controversial move to flee to Zimbabwe. Patriotic Front member Shimba Kambwili has reportedly left the country for Zimbabwe under questionable circumstances. Home Affairs and Internal Security Minister Jack Mwimbu says initial investigation suggests that Mr. Kambwili, who was scheduled for an evacuation to South Africa for medical treatment, opted to travel to Zimbabwe instead. During a joint press briefing in Lusaka with Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, Mr. Mwimbu disclosed that Mr. Kambwili was driven into Zimbabwe by a vehicle with a Zimbabwean registration plate. Ms. Masebo added that Mr. Kambwili had been cleared for medical evacuation to South Africa, but chose to depart for Zimbabwe instead. So they saw that. So she made that statement. They went further to say, Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security wishes to refute reports by media houses that Mr. Shimba Kambwili's passport was confiscated by the state. The facts are that on 5th January 2024, at around 7 hours, an unknown male person purported to be Zimbabwean or Zimbabwean origin presented a passport with that's the number belonging to Mr. Shimba Kambwili to an immigration officer at Chirundu border post to have it stamped in the absence of the order, whom he had claimed was not well enough to present himself for exit formalities. However, upon officers' insistence that the order be brought to the counter for clearance, the non-Zimbabwean fled, leaving Mr. Shimba Kambwili's passport behind. Information gathered later revealed that he had crossed into Zimbabwe. It must be placed on record that by crossing into Zimbabwe in the manner that he did, Mr. Shimba Kambwili has contravened Section 16, subsection 1 of the Immigration and Deportation Acts, or Act number 18 of 2010 of the laws of Zambia, which mandates the person exiting the country to appear before the immigration officers before exit formalities. So this is the letter that they've made as a part of that statement. And then during the same press brief, Sylvia Masebo says Shimba Kambwili's wife had insisted to say he cannot be taken to any other place because his record and what the medical attention that he needed was supposed to be in the UK, because that's where they have their records and stuff. Because he lives between the UK and Zambia. So he's got a house in Rwanda, Lusaka, where he lives mostly. That's Rwanda, Lusaka, and the UK. Thereabout. So it seems like every time that the family has medical emergencies and everything they want to attend to, they fly to the UK. So his wife and family says, no, I remember the broadcast that I did yesterday where I said the family had insisted if it means them paying for security police officers to accompany him. If you've seen where if a prisoner is sick and is taken to hospital, you find someone in handcuffs but still in hospital. So the family was willing for all that, but they insisted that it had to be in the UK. But the government of Zambia was comfortable with them being with him. Chimbambo didn't take him to the UK. They said they needed a place where they could have access to. So it seems like the current government of President Hakainde Hichilema is in good books with the Indian government and Ramaphosa's government in South Africa. So they insisted to say, instead of because obviously they came across the documents, the his health condition and what was required. They said it's not only the UK where he could get that medical attention that he needed. It could be done in India, and it also could be done in South Africa. So they said the government was only comfortable to allow Chimbambo to exit the country to go to South Africa or India, which was not viable for the family. I'm sure that's why they opted to do this thing that Chimbambo has done. Yeah, I mean, they have to save a life, and they know his situation. So that's the update, ladies and gentlemen. So as at now, Chimbambo is traveling without any Zambian documentation. But I doubt he will be on the run for a while. Once he heals, or if it's not that dire, he survives, he'll definitely come back to Zambia. Definitely he'll come back. So yeah, but obviously he's going to be arrested. That's another news. So immediately he flies back to Zambia, it's expected he's going to be arrested because he exited the country without proper documentation. I'm sure he's going to let the 6 months run off because he's got that case. Right now, Chimbambo is a convict. He's only out on bail. So I think this is like the 4th month, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to write up that 6 months conviction that he has. Then he'll come back and then just withdraw the case and obviously move along with the next case. But this is likely to be another arrest that is pending for him. So that's the situation of the Kambwili family, the predicament. But you cannot blame the family. They are not willing to lose him because everyone is concerned. Like, yes, people have known his health issues that he has. I think it's diabetes and other things. But yeah, what is known is like, yeah, he's diabetic. There was a time that he even fainted. A couple of pictures that circulate where he was at court and then he fainted, and then his bodyguard was the one who was helping him out with stuff. So the family was not willing to lose him. They were willing to do anything between the hard rock and the hard place in the rock. So they opted to say whatever means necessary. If it means smuggling him into Zimbabwe, they just had to do that. But obviously, I'm sure by now he's on a flight to the UK, a private jet or something. Him getting the documentation to leave Zimbabwe, that's easy. That's easy. With the Mnangagwa government, that's easy. But now I'm sure he's on the flight to the UK. And once he gets there, he's going to explain some asylum situation or something like that. He gets his medical attention and he'll get back to Zambia. Yeah, so we'll wait and see how it plays out. But at the moment, Chimbambo has left the country without a passport or without any Zambian documents. And we'll see how that plays out, ladies and gentlemen. So the government says they wanted him to go to South Africa or India, not the UK. The family said no. The medical record is in the UK, and everything that it needs to be done has to be done in the UK. The government wasn't comfortable with the United Kingdom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the news so far. Wait and see how it plays out. Make sure you click on the subscribe button, you click on the notifications to get the notifications of every video that I upload. I try to upload every week, sometimes every day of the week, but definitely each week you expect a video. So make sure you click on the subscribe, like this video, and there's much more on the playlist. So visit the channel and see you around.